In this video, we are going to learn about custom sorting and also one of the very important functions in Excel, which is VLOOKUP function. We will start with creating this table. In the previous lecture, we created a similar table to this table. So in the interest of time, we will not regenerate the table. We will input the data. We will do Control L, and that will help us to create the table. So that's basically the summary of making the table. Now we'll proceed with applying more customized sorting functions or processes to this set of data in the table. So we learned how we can limit the data, how we can sort the data. Now we are going to add a second layer when we want to sort data. In other words, what if we have two conditions for sorting, not just one? For example, it's not just that we are interested to see sell prices for Nova Scotia or Ontario or Alberta. Maybe we would like to further sort or limit the data. Then what we would do. So that would be the first part, which is on custom sorting. We are also going to see what we already discussed, that with conditional formatting, when the color of the data that meets a certain criteria changes, it is possible that that data might be at the bottom of the table. And in order to find that data, we actually have to scroll down. Now, that may not be an issue if we have a small table, but if we have a larger table, we have to scroll down maybe, thousands of rows to actually see if we have covered all the data or not. So one way that we can extend using conditional formatting in such a way that it would not necessarily require us to scroll down would be through custom sorting. So we're also going to learn about that. And what we do is that we apply conditional formatting, but then through using custom sorting, we are able to push up the data that we're interested in. So we understand that when we do conditional formatting, the data that meets a certain criteria assumes a different color, but that data can be scattered inside the table. So with custom sorting, we can actually bundle them, cluster them, and push them to the top. So put them in one pack, push them to the top, and then at the top of the table, you're going to see the data that you're interested in. And then last, it will be VLOOKUP function that allows us to find information inside the table that we're interested in. So we'll see how that function works. So click a cell in the list of data that you want to sort. This is basically the steps that you'll take for using custom sorting. From the sort and filter dropdown, click custom sort. And we will sort by the first field. Then we have the option of sorting by the second field. So let's just take this to an example and we will see exactly how this works out. So the first step is to make a click inside the table. So that can be any click in any of the cells. We are in the Home tab. In the Editing group on the top right corner, we have Sort and Filter. If you make a left click on it, the third option is Custom Sort. So one left click on Custom Sort. So let's say, let's just do the example that we have in the PowerPoint slide. Say we would like to sort the values in the province column in alphabetical order and sort the values in the sale price column in ascending order, meaning increasing. This is to apply two sorting conditions simultaneously. So that's the key thing about custom sorting. It allows two conditions to happen simultaneously or to be applied to the data. So what we have again is alphabetical order in the province and ascending order for the prices. So we'll come here. We have sort by. sort on, that's the attribute basically, and the order. So the column that we want to sort by, we will put province. And as you see, Excel recognizes all your columns. So these are the columns are already in the list. Customer ID, province, and sale price. We are going to select province. Sort on cell values. So we'll leave it. Basically, we are saying sort the data in the province column based on the values that you find inside the cells. Now, in the third part, it is asking for the order. And it recognizes that the content of the cells in the province column are actually text. So it is asking you, do you want it A to Z, for example? And that's what we want, which is alphabetically. Now, would we be done? Well, the answer is no, because we also want to further customize this table and our sorting by having sale prices in an ascending order. So what that means is that not only we want the province column to be sorted out alphabetically, we also want the sale prices to be in an ascending order. So to do so, we'll click on add level. As you see, you can add as many levels. So we're going to go add level. So we will say sort by province, cell values A to Z, then by. So first we do this, then we move on to the third column, which is the second sorting process. So first sort by province based on the cell values A to Z, then by sale price column, and from smallest to largest. That would be in ascending order. So press OK. Let's see what happens. So what it does is that it clusters now the provinces and puts them together and sorts them in alphabetical order. So you could have hundreds of Alberta here. You could have 50 Nova Scotia in this table. You could have 200 of Ontario based on how many outlets you have in different provinces. So these numbers, and they're all scattered. You could have Alberta, Nova Scotia, Alberta, 10 Ontario, then Alberta, then one Nova Scotia again, then 5 Ontario. It can be all over the map. So when you do custom sorting, what it does is that it brings all the Albertas together, it brings all the Nova Scotia together, all the Ontario together, and then it sorts it out alphabetically. That is A and O alphabetically being arranged given this data set. And of course, with that set of arrangements or modification in the order, the customer IDs are getting adjusted. They're not being changed. Their order is being adjusted. Basically, when Alberta comes up there, number 3 also comes with it. And as well as the sell price. Basically, as we have discussed before, the row is changing. And after it sorts out the content in the province column alphabetically, then it moves on to the sale price column and then sorts them out in an increasing manner. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So for Alberta, think of it as a clusters, think of it as a pack. So let's look at the Alberta pack. You have 1,200, 3,500, and then 10,000. Then it goes down to 400, 1,500, 2,500, 2,500. And then again, back to 500 for Ontario, 1,000 for Ontario, and 5,000 for Ontario. As you see, for each cluster, the sell prices are in ascending manner. That's how they're arranged. So first, it alphabetically arranged the province column, clusters them, alphabetically orders them. So now you've got Alberta as a cluster, Nova Scotia as a cluster, and Ontario as a cluster. Then it moves on to the sale price column, and that is when it sorts out the sale prices. Now, to retrieve, the information that we have here, basically, if we want to retrieve the original table, if we want to put it back to how it was, all we have to do is just come to customer ID and click on sort smallest to largest. Basically, now we have retrieved the original table. Now, we could do that with descending manner. For example, we make a click here, we go to sort and filter, custom sort, we go to province, we say A to Z, now add level, then by, we'll go to sale price based on the sell values, but this time we will do largest to smallest. So we have province, sell values A to Z. After we cluster them and sort them out alphabetically in the province column, now we have got different clusters, different packs. Then we move on to the sell price and sort out the sell prices in a descending manner, meaning decreasing, meaning largest to smallest. So we press on OK, and let's take a look at what happened. So again, we are not surprised. We have a pack of Alberta, we have a pack of Nova Scotia, and we have a pack of Ontario. So it has rearranged the ordering of the rows in this table. Now, with that change, the whole row has changed. Basically, now we have Alberta with 10,000 at the top because we said from largest to smallest. Then we have 3,500 for Alberta. Then we have 1,200 for Alberta. So we have Alberta pack, and then the sell prices for Alberta are in descending manner. Then we move on to Nova Scotia. You've got the largest, which is 2,500. There's another Nova Scotia for 2,500, so that appears there. The only difference in that case would be just the customer ID. That would differentiate them. Then goes down to 1,500, then goes down to 400. Then we have the Ontario pack. The largest for Ontario is 5,000, the largest for the second largest 1,000, and the third largest is 500. One of the key things here is that if you've got, for example, 6, 7 provinces and you apply custom sorting and you go from largest to smallest, basically when you look at this, all you have to do is just look at the first entity for each cluster. Then you would know what is the maximum sale in that province. Because you could have, again, thousands of Alberta here, meaning that you have 1,000 franchisees in the province of Alberta. And all you have to do is just look at the first one. If you have set it up in such a way that it will sort out the values in the sale price in a descending manner, then all you have to do is just look at the first entity to know what is the largest. So for Alberta, we know it's 10,000. Then we move on to Nova Scotia. We see it is 2,500. Then we move on to Ontario, and we see that it is 5,000. The same goes if we do it the other way. So smallest to largest, we will go to sort and filter, custom sort. So we have province, sell values A to Z, add level, sale price, now smallest to largest. If you press OK, so if you want to know what is the minimum in each province, basically what all you have to do, it can be the largest table ever. All you have to do is to sort them out, like in the province column alphabetically, and then move on to the sell price column and put that in an ascending manner, meaning increasing, meaning from smallest to largest. Now, if you're interested in knowing what is the smallest in each province, basically you have to just look at Alberta. You will see that 1,200. You know that the first basically entry for each province is the smallest. So Alberta, 1,200. You don't need to check the rest because you know that's the smallest. You will move on to Nova Scotia. You've got 400. You don't need even to check the rest. You will move on to Ontario, and you know that the smallest is 500. So by custom sorting, basically you can add customization, filtering, or limiting features further to your table while you have one layer of customization or filtering already in place. So you can further customize, you can further limit or filter your data across different columns that you have. Again, to retrieve the original table, you'll come to customer ID, sort to smallest to largest. Now you have basically retrieved the original table that you had. This is a snapshot of custom sorting. So it's just an arrow pointing out to add level. This is how you can add level, that it says sort by and then by. So when we say simultaneously, it's not simultaneously happening in real time, because first it sorts out one column, then it moves off to the other one. So when we say simultaneously, what we really mean is that we want to apply more than one condition. This is a snapshot of the result. So basically, when you're practicing for yourself, you can refer to the PowerPoint slide to know that you have it right. So in this case, we have sorted the values in the province column in alphabetical order, and then sort the values in the sale price column in ascending order. So the scenario that fits that is basically here. This is a snapshot of the table that meets those two customization criteria. There's another scenario here that we just did. Basically, we are sorting the content in the province column in alphabetical order, and then sorting the values in the sale price in descending order. So it's basically the opposite. Descending meaning it's decreasing. And again, so as it's decreasing, the only difference would be then by sell price values, and then largest to smallest. That would be the only difference between this scenario and the previous scenario. As it's descending manner, we will have largest to smallest, and the rest would be the same. As you see here, we have smallest to largest because it was ascending, um, and this one is descending, which is decreasing, meaning from largest to smallest. And here's a snapshot for the descending manner scenario, so that we have customized the data in the province column alphabetically. We have sorted them out in alphabetical order. Then we move on to sell price, and we sort them out from the largest to the lowest. And we can just look at Alberta. We know that's 10,000 being the largest. Nova Scotia customer ID 6, which is 2,500. And then Ontario, it is customer ID 8 that has the highest sale. Again, this could be the revenues that each franchise is generating for you. And it could be in a province. You might have assigned them a customer ID, so you can easily track the activity, cost, revenue, or anything that you're interested in any franchise or any part of your business. The other part of custom sorting is what we have discussed about conditional formatting, that the color of the data that meets a certain criteria changes, but stays where it is. With custom sorting, as you see, we can cluster data, we can create a bundle, we can pack them up, and we can move them around. So that's another advantage of custom sorting. So it starts with conditional formatting, and then to add to that, we actually cluster the data. So for example, use conditional formatting to change the color of cells whose value are between 1400 and 2600. Use custom sorting to show the colored cells on top of the table. So we have retrieved the original table. The numbers were 1400 and 1600. So the first step is to use conditional formatting to define that criteria, that if the value of data is between 1400 and 2600, it should assume a different color. So first we select the data. We are in Home tab. We will go to conditional formatting, highlight cells between 1400 and 2600. And if you would like to change the colors here, you can just choose from the list. If not, you can also come to custom format here, and you can choose the color that you're interested in. For example, maybe you want green and you want to fill it with this color. There we go. So press OK. So there are three numbers whose value fall in the range of 1400 to 2600. As you see, it is scattered. Again, it's a small table. We can see it. Imagine, so I'm putting 11 here. Just drag it down. Imagine you had 439 basically elements. See, you have to scroll down to basically get the data that you're interested in. So I'm now scrolling up here. So if you had data here, you had to scroll down to see, if there are any other values that they have assumed a different color because they actually fit in the category here. So just going back here, basically to undo what we did. So in order not to go through that process, what we can do is that we can bundle up or pack up or cluster the set of data that has met that criteria. So what we are going to do is that we're going to tell Excel whatever value that has fallen in that range, pack them up and push them to the top of the table. So we'll make a click here so that the table is selected. We'll go to sort and filter. We have custom sort. So we will go now to what column? We have been working with province column, then by sell price. So if you want to decide where you need to go, ask yourself, where is it that you're defining criteria? In the previous examples, we were defining criteria in the province column, then by sell price. You have to ask yourself, where is it now that you're defining a criteria? The answer is sell price. You have defined a criteria in the sell price column that if the numbers or values fall in the range of 1400 to 2600, they should assume a different color. You have defined that in the sell price column. So when you come here, the column that you need to select is, so make a left click on the drop down box. That would be sell price. Now, sort on. Are we going to work with cell values? Not this time, because we said that the values have assumed a different color because they meet a certain criteria, but they're scattered. So basically, custom sorting allows you to sort on attributes, one being the color of the content in a column. So rather than sorting on cell values, we are going to sort on cell color. So as you see, that's another option that is available. And the combination of these two allows us to further utilize conditional formatting for our benefit. So you can make a left click on cell color. Now, when you come here, there's a drop down box here that you can click on, and it is going to recognize all the colors that you've selected. Remember, you could have more than one condition in this column, meaning that there are different colors that have been assigned for different conditions. In this case, there's only one column, and that is orange or yellow. If you had more conditions, you would have had more number of colors, and you would have seen the list of different colors right here. Just like how you see the orange or yellow, you would have seen the whole list of colors, and you could have selected the one that you were interested in. So in this case, we are interested in the yellow or orange. So you have to select it. So we make a left click on it. So what we have here is that we would like to sort. We are sorting by cell price column. We are sorting on the cell color. We have selected the color, and that's orange or yellow, and we want it to go to the top. Now, if you press OK, there we have it. So it first identifies what these values are and where they are. That's through conditional formatting. So first the values are identified. We know they are there, but they're not together. And then we come to custom sorting and say, sort them now based on their color. And then it asks us, so how do you want me to sort them? And we say, bring them all up together. So this way, if there are any values at the bottom of the table that they've assumed these values and they're changed, that they meet the criteria and their color has changed, now they're all going to be pushed up, and we're going to just look and say, okay, so we see that the numbers that we're interested in, they're all coming from province of Nova Scotia, and here's the customer IDs, 2, 6, and 10. So this is another way of basically highlighting the data that we are interested in through combining conditional formatting with custom sorting. This is basically a snapshot of what we just did. So when you practice for yourself, this is snapshot is here so that you can come and see for yourself the information that you have found on your own worksheet and compare with the PowerPoint slides to make sure that you have the correct answer. VLOOKUP function is one of the very important functions that you need to learn in Microsoft Excel. It is one of the must-learns. I've even seen VLOOKUP function being asked for on job descriptions. And it is not the only thing that they ask. They also ask about pivot tables, which is also in the syllabus, and we're going to study them. But one of the things that I've seen some of the big companies specifically ask about, not just asking, do you know Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Office? I have seen a job description specifically asking about certain functions in big companies, and one of them is VLOOKUP function. It's a very important function because when you're working with large scale data and you're just looking for information, VLOOKUP function will help you to look up information. So finds a value in the leftmost column of a named range, and we are actually going to apply now this function to our data. Then returns the value from the specified cell to the right of the cell with the found value. We have the syntax here and the arguments that goes into it. So as it's a function, we always start with the equal sign. So we have equal VLOOKUP, lookup value, comma range, comma column, and comma false. So lookup value is the value that you're looking up the information for. For example, you would like to find out some information about customer ID 3. So what would be lookup value? Lookup value would be that 3. So the customer ID that you're interested in is number 3. Now you want to find information about customer 3. So the first step is to identify who you're interested in or what you're interested in. So lookup value is basically asking you, you're looking up value for who or for what. And that, for example, could be your customer ID. So if customer ID is 3, lookup value is 3 here. Range. Range is to select the whole table that has data in it. So the whole table that has data in it, that would be your range. Column. This is number of the column or column index from where you would like to retrieve information about that customer. For example, it's customer ID 3. You want to know how much they have made a purchase in your business. Now the question is, what is the column number where you can find that information on sale prices? For example, it could be column number 10 or column number 9 or column number 1000. That is where sale prices are. So here, if it is column number 100 where sale prices are included, this is a column index. You're going to put 100. False means exact match. Basically meaning that whatever the match is, basically whatever you have found, turn that as the answer. So to go back, we want to know, for example, how much customer ID 3, which is someone, has spent in your business. So we are looking up information about customer ID 3. The first thing is lookup value. It is asking you for whom you're looking up information. If that's customer ID 3 for whom you're looking up information, you have to put 3 here. Range is to select the whole table, not just one column, the whole table. It doesn't matter if you're going to be using that whole table or not. The whole table. It could have million columns, 100,000 columns, the whole table. So the whole table becomes a range. Now the question becomes, what is the column number in the whole table that you selected before, from where you want to retrieve information about the customer ID that you're interested in? You would say, okay, I'm interested in customer ID 3. Here's my whole table, which is 10 by 10. I've selected it, and I'm interested in retrieving information from column number 8, because that's where sale prices are. So if that's the case, then column is going to be 8. False means exact match. Basically, whatever you found, turn that in. So let's look at what that's going to look like. Find sell prices for customers 3, 7, and 10 using VLOOKUP function. So I've created here. I'm going to delete this so that we can do it together. I'm going to come here and sort the smallest to largest. Basically, we just retrieved our original table. So we want to look up information for customer ID 3, 7, and 10. It's important that we separate that. We bring them here to this table. So we have 3, 7, and 10 on the side. And we would like to look up information for customer ID 3, 7, and 10. And that information is sell price. So what's the sell price for customer ID 3? What's the sell price for customer ID 7? What's the sell price for customer ID 10? And you want them all together. You're not looking them up one at a time. This could be a whole separate table, which is 10 by 10, 100 by 100, that in this table, you're just looking up information, but not one at a time, for the whole set of customer IDs. So let's start using the VLOOKUP function. Equal VLOOKUP. Now it's asking for lookup value. We are interested in customer ID 3. We are going to click on 3, comma. Now it's asking for table array. That is, where is the table? I'm going to select the whole table that includes data. That starts from 1, goes all the way to 2,500. I let it go, so table is selected, comma. It says column, index, number. It's basically saying, I know where the table is. What column in that table you want me to look at? And all you need to do is just to tell me the column number. You would say, sure, I'm interested in customer ID 3. Here's the whole table. Please look at column number 3. That's where the sale prices are. So you're going to type 3, comma. As you see, it gives you options. False, exact match. We're interested in exact match. Double left click on it, close parentheses, and press enter. So now let's verify. Customer ID 3, the sell price is 1,200. Now we can come here and do this for 7 as well. We can put equal VLOOKUP, click on 7, comma, select the table, comma, column index 3, comma, false. Close parentheses and press enter. The question, did we have to do that? The answer is no. Because what if I've got 30 of these? What if I've got hundreds of customer IDs that I want to look up? We have learned in the past that we can copy formulas. So all we have to do is to click on 1200 and drag it down from the corner. And there you have it. So we are basically finding information from a bigger table, and we have it on the side, and we are doing it all at the same time. So now we have looked up information for customer ID 3, 7, and 10, and all we had to do was just to define the VLOOKUP function for the first customer ID. So what happens is, see, for example, for customer ID 10 is 3,500 that we have here. So if we go to the first one, you see that VLOOKUP function, it is G6. Now, if you click on 10,000, you see that it has changed to G7, which is basically here. If you click on 2,500, you see that it has changed to G8 in the formula bar, which is 10. This is why we don't type 3. Let me just do this again so that we'll see the difference. So say I put equal VLOOKUP. Rather than clicking in G6 cell where the customer ID is, let's say I type 3. See, we are going to see the difference. Before, what we did, we clicked on 3, right? And then we dragged it down, it worked perfectly. Do you think it's going to work the same way if I type 3? So now I've typed 3, I'm not clicking because I know customer ID is 3. And it is right, we are looking up information for customer ID 3. So comma, now here's the table, comma, column index is 3, comma, and false. Close parentheses and press enter. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Customer ID is 3, sell price is 1,200. Now we want to drag this down so that we can get the same thing for all the customers. So let's see how that's going to turn out. And doesn't seem like it turned out fine. And I think we know why. Because we typed 3, and when we go to drag it down, it copies the cell. So when it moves from this row to the row below, it does not update 3 to 7. Why? Because we have made it definitive. We have definitively input customer ID to be 3. So when you go down, it doesn't update it. The only way that it will update information when you want to copy formula is if you have clicked on the cell rather than typing the content of the cell, which basically what we had done in the past. So this is the difference between typing information definitively or clicking on the cell from where the content will be retrieved. The beauty of that is when you copy the formula, when it moves to the row below, it's going to update the information automatically because it recognizes that it has to retrieve information from a cell because you have specified a cell. You have clicked on a cell. You have not definitively input a parameter. So right now you have definitively input a parameter, and that's customer ID 3. When you drag it down, it copies the same thing. So let's do that one more time, and then you'll see equal VLOOKUP. So lookup value. Now I'm going to click on this cell, and that is G6. So now what Excel knows is that we are interested in the content of G6 column, which happens to have the value of 3 in it. But what we have told Excel is G6. Now, comma, here's the table, comma, 3, comma, false. Close parentheses, enter. Now, the column index is 3. We want it to be definitive. So that's why that's fine that we just put 3 for the column index, because we are interested in the third column in this table. That does not change. So that's why we feel comfortable to put 3 or input 3 as a parameter, because it's not going to change when we change when we copy the formula. So if you look at the formula bar, you see that the column index number is 3. It is definitively input. It's a parameter, and it's absolutely fine. Why? Because when you copy the formula, looking up information for a different customer ID, you're still looking to retrieve information from column number 3. That's why we definitively put 3 as a parameter. But we would like Excel to update the customer ID. See, when I now click on 10,000, it has moved on to G7. This used to be G6, right? Because now it understands when you go one row below, it comes one row below and it retrieves G7. G7 happens to have number 7 in it. And then it moves on, say, click on 2500. You see it has moved on to G8. So it retrieves the content from G8, and that will be 10. So then it comes here, 10 is 2500, and then we'll receive the information. So this is how you can use the VLOOKUP function to look up information from a table. And again, have that in mind that you will be creating a smaller table. Input the customer IDs that you're interested in the first column, 3, 7, 10. Again, remember, you want Excel to move from 3 to 7, then to 10. And to accomplish that, you click on 3, and then all you have to do is just drag down the formula so that when it goes to the row below, it's going to retrieve the content of the cell below, 3. And that would be 7, and then that would be 10. So remember that the customer IDs that you're interested in, create a smaller table, list them up, define a VLOOKUP function for the first entry, and then all you have to do is just drag it down. And that's how you can use VLOOKUP function to retrieve information from a bigger table.